Here is the Regency Compact Radio Stereo model US 2800. Obviously this is a novelty item made to look like a hi-fi stereo system with a wood grain finish and external speakers, but it's really just a cheap little transistor radio. And this basic concept has been around for over 50 years. The late Dan O'Connor made a video about one from the early 1970s, which was styled to look like a stereo receiver of that era, but it was really just a cheap and very poorly built AM radio with the actual controls hidden on the back. All the knobs and dials on the front of it were fake, but this one is quite a bit newer. I can tell it's at least from 1993 because that's when AM radio tuners here in the US were required to cover the expanded band up to 1700 kilohertz. And it also has FM stereo. And it seems to have actual controls on the front. And I've seen another version of this called the EPX90 Audio Rack, which had an optional alarm clock and cassette player, which could be stacked on top of each other to look like a miniature audio rack system. Unfortunately, aside from the Regency name, there's no indication of who actually manufactured this or when it was made, at least on the outside of the box. The only thing it says is that it was made in China. So let's open it up. And there's a little manual, really just a folded piece of paper. Regency Compact Radio Stereo, model US 2800. And it's a radio. It shows the volume knob, function switch, and tuning knob. DC jack. Limited warranty. Oh, here it says Spectra Merchandising of Chicago. I've seen that name before. I think they may own the Jensen name and maybe the Emerson name. I know they bought out a bunch of defunct audio component brands, and now we're selling cheap Chinese-made products under those names. So this company is still around, Spectra Merchandising. Although, like I said, this might not be as old as you think it is. Might be quite a bit newer than that. And here we go. AC power adapter, no need for batteries. You can order that. Let's see, is there a date on here anywhere? It cost $5.95 plus $1 each for shipping and handling. So, oh, here we go. Yeah, well, it's a little bit older than I thought. 1992. So they are actually ahead of the game in terms of providing the expanded band even before it was required by the FCC. So this little thing is from 1992. So on top are the speakers. Packaged rather tightly in there. Well, that's how thin the speakers are. And it looks like they're hardwired to the base unit. And there it is. Indeed has FM stereo and AM. There's the tuning, there's the function switch, and there's the volume control. On the back is the DC input jack and what was a headphone jack but is blanked out. So it can only play through these cheap little speakers. And this thing feels kind of heavy. I hope nobody left batteries in this. Oh, good. But this definitely feels too heavy. They must have put a block of metal in this. Because if you saw Dan O'Connor's video, one of the problems with these little novelty things is that it's so light that it tends to slide around on you. So they might have added extra weight to this to hold it down. So it runs on 4 AA batteries. And there's the sticker saying it was made in China, and the frequency ranges, and there you go. So let me put some batteries in this, see if it works. And there it is. Unfortunately, it gives no indication of which speaker is supposed to be left and right, but they do have little raised ridges on them, which imply that this should be the bottom, and then you would think the cable would go towards the direction of the main unit to give you more extension of the wires. So I'm thinking that this is the left speaker and this is the right speaker. With the wires fully extended, you can position the speakers about 2.5 feet apart, which is enough for a good stereo image. And I have the batteries installed, so let's try FM first. Well, it definitely is stereo. Little red LED is on. So let's see what else we can tune in.
55. Another nice one for Monday. Sunshine, some clouds, a high of 72, and turning a bit more gloomy into 2.
Linebacker.
Right into it. Interview with Gene Gray.
Definitely very tinny sound.
Gene Gray, welcome to Bullseye. It's nice to have you here on the show.
But it is picking up a decent amount of stations. It does have a wire external antenna for FM, which helps reception. So FM is pretty good. Let's try AM. The tuning is rather touchy.
Parents of kids that are in the academy or
So
in,
it is
in
picking
club
up some
soccer that are
stations.
going on this journey. So it's so good just to hear the stories and what
The
they're going
bandwidth
through.
is pretty good, but the sensitivity is rather poor. So it's all working. FM is pretty good and AM is acceptable. And there is one of the speakers popped open. It's a 2-inch driver, 8 ohm, 0.5 watt. Basically the same thing you'd find in a clock radio or a small portable radio. And on the back they have these grooves, which may remind you of a boombox with detachable speakers, where you can wrap the wire around the back of the speaker when you're not using it with the speakers detached. But in this case it serves no functional purpose, because first of all the wire is coming out of the wrong side. It should come out of here, and even if you could wrap the wire around that, there's nothing to hold it in place. And there is the main unit taken apart, and just as I suspected, there's a big block of metal glued on top of the battery compartment to weigh it down and make it feel heavier. And there it says MPX 90-03. So maybe this circuit board was designed in 1990. There's the tuning capacitor, the AM ferrite bar antenna, and there's the radio tuner with the one main chip running the whole show. Looks like it's a Toshiba TA8127N with a date code of the 10th week of 1992. And the only other integrated circuit on the board is a JRC 2073 audio amplifier chip, which is good for about half a watt per channel when running on 6 volts. And here is what would have been that headphone jack. Looks like it was meant to have one, but they just didn't install it. And just one thing to be aware of, this 6 volt DC power input jack is center negative. I know there's some reason why a lot of older equipment used center negative, but I don't remember what the exact reason is off the top of my head. But apparently there was some methodology to making it center negative instead of center positive. For example, a lot of tape recorders used 6 volts DC center negative, and that's where this AC adapter came from. So that's about it for the Regency US 2800 novelty compact stereo system from 1992.